Hello there. Vladimir Putin's televised speech was eagerly awaited on Wednesday, and the context of the speech is explosive. Almost 7 months after the start of the war of aggression against Ukraine, Russia ordered a partial mobilization of its own armed forces. He made this decision after a proposal from the Defense Ministry and signed the decree. That's what Kremlin chief Vladimir Putin said in a recorded television speech on Wednesday morning. Partial mobilization will begin on that day as well, or it did begin. He supports the Defense Ministry's proposal to mobilize reservists who have already served and have relevant experience, Putin said. People with certain competencies could also be drafted, he said. They should receive additional training before their deployment. According to Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, 300,000 soldiers are to be recruited in this way. Putin justified the partial mobilization with the delivery of Western weapons to Ukraine, which are also being used to attack Russian territory. Russia will use all means to protect its territorial integrity, Putin said. He also mentioned nuclear weapons. Putin has already put the strategic nuclear arsenal on increased readiness to deter NATO from interfering in Ukraine. Russian political scientist Tatyana Stanovaya said that Putin decided to hold accession referendums after his original plans to quickly seize the territories in Ukraine, they failed. Once the regions have been included, he has the option of defending the territories under threat of using nuclear weapons, she says. In doing so, he significantly increased his efforts in the war. And in addition, Putin announced his support for the planned annexation of Ukrainian territories using mock referendums in the occupied territories. We support the decision made by the majority of citizens in the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republic, in the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia oblasts. That's what the Russian president said in the televised address, and it's complete BS. In addition to the self-proclaimed People's Republics of Donetsk and Luhansk in eastern Ukraine, the Kremlin also wants to tie the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions in the south and they want to tie them to Russia with mock referendums. The mock referendums are to be held from September 23rd to 27th. That means starting tomorrow. They are seen as a reaction to the current Ukrainian counter-offensive in the east of the country. In view of the recent Ukrainian advance, the separatists in Donetsk and Luhansk had called for such coordination to be held quickly. Russia justified its invasion of Ukraine on February 24th with the liberation of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, among other things. First, the Russian military was able to conquer large parts of eastern and southern Ukraine. Most recently, however, the Kremlin had to accept a serious defeat. The Russian troops withdrew almost completely from the Kharkiv region after Ukrainian attacks. State propaganda then warned of a possible devastating defeat in the war. On the other hand, the Russian military leadership has repeatedly emphasized that everything is going according to plan and that all goals have been achieved. And I don't know how hard I should laugh about that one. The Kremlin chief's speech was originally announced for Tuesday evening, but was then postponed to an indefinite date without further explanation. Observers had speculated whether Putin would order a general mobilization given the massive problems facing his armed forces in Ukraine. However, such a step would entail major domestic political risks for the regime, but this already does. All flights to Turkey, for example, are booked for the next days, and next week they will be much more expensive. And it's heard already that people are not allowed to cross borders anymore because they want them as soldiers. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.